Здравствуйте, товарищ. Welcome to Kerbal Space Program. This series is going to be dedicated in the first season to building our lunar colony, which I've already gotten started. This gameplay, I'm just going to get you guys up to speed. I started when they released version 0.18.1. And basically, this was a fresh game when they came out, that release, because to me, this is where the game really began, because they added docking, which allowed a whole lot more. They added the transfer orbit computer, which makes transfers a whole lot easier than what I was doing before. Not that I was bad at it, but it does make things a lot more precision, lot less time wasted trying to figure stuff out, and you can really plan your projects ahead of time. So let's go ahead and start getting game. I'll give you guys a broad sweep of the tracking station, what we're up to. Alright, so we got Kerbin here, very nice, very nice. And Mune. Now on the Mune, I got the Pegasus Mark II, and this is a rover that I've got 2 Kerbnauts currently piloting, and they were on a Pathfinder mission. And what they were doing was finding my ideal landing spot for the lunar colony, and this is actually located right next to one of the great unnatural arches. So I'm gonna go fly this real quick just to show you. And this is a rover. I landed at about 20 kilometers from the arch and unpacked it. Sure, brakes are on. Alright. Yep, so there's the arch. This guy's got limited batteries because it's solar powered, but we'll turn those on for a second. Very simple rover, powered by RCS thrust. These guys drove the 20 kilometers from the landing site, which was over there, 21.3. And these arches are totally unnatural. They should not exist on the Mune, and I believe them to be of alien origin, and I want to build a colony here in the hopes that one day they might come back and either be our friends, or we might steal their technology in a bloody battle. I don't know. But it seemed like a good place to land. Very identifiable. So we'll turn those lights back off. Go to Space Center. So now in Kerbin orbit here, one of the things I built for this was Zeus Station. Now Zeus Station is a very large multifunctional space station. It's got everything you can imagine strapped to it. The problem is, in the current release and with my graphics capabilities, which are decent but getting dated, I get serious FPS drops when I'm around Zeus Station now trying to dock with it, which makes docking extremely hard, and it's not an enjoyable experience, so I don't really use it for its intended purpose, which was to bootstrap stuff off of it. So I'm hoping that gets improved either with a patch or as time goes on. It was a very enjoyable project, but that's not our project anymore. So for the purposes of getting objects to the Mune with plenty of fuel for us to navigate successfully to that landing spot, we have one of our fuel depots, which is in orbit. That says Kerbin Fuel Depot 2. And this is going to be the focus of today's video. We're going to actually launch a routine refueling small tanker up to the station, dock with it, transfer our fuel, return to Kerbin, and we'll end there. And this will give you an idea of how docking works as well. So I'm going to fly it just to show you our fuel depot that we have in orbit. Very robust, very simple. And I designed it that way, few parts, just because the fewer parts you have, the less FPS drops you're going to experience. So nothing much to this. We got RCS tanks, we got a large tank, we got a thruster should we ever need it, and 4 Clampatron Junior docking clamps that they can dock with. And we got our comm arrays too, no real purpose. We got, actually this is a manned station. Usually I use drones for these sort of things, but I thought for fueling we should have a guy on hand just in case there's a fire or whatever. So we have Kilzer, I guess, Kilzer Kerman, who's in orbit. Keep an eye on the station, communicating with ships as they dock. Oh, I actually forgot to extend our solar panels on this one. Not that it needs it. It's got the 2 thermal nuclear whatchamacallits generating power. But these do look cool, so I will go ahead and extend them. Very nice. And these articulate to the position of the sun as best as possible, I believe. So they're getting their power now. Now you can see right here, this fuel depot has nearly a full load of fuel from the previous mission to refuel it, which I launched, but we're just going to top it off today, because for what I have in mind, and we'll go back to the Space Center to show you, we have 2 entry components which are going to land on the Moon. That's not the Moon, that's Minus. There's the Moon. So we got 2 components that are going to be the first to land on the Moon. They're going to be separate components, so not connected. One is the Lunar Colony module, which is already in orbit, so I can show you that. I have yet to attach the main drive engine to it, which will be in another video. Very nice. So, as you can see, we've got 2 living modules. Can have 4 Kerbin, 2 engines for landing struts, and additional clamps, junior clamps. These juniors? Oh no, these are normal Clampatron Junior docking ports, so the big ones. 4 docking additional modules and equipment on. The main drive I'm probably going to attach on the back end here, and we'll see how that's going to work. What I may end up doing though, because I can run into balancing issues with thrust and all that, is I may strap it here in the middle, just like you see here, just side dock it, which is semi-difficult, but I'm kind of used to it, so it's not too hard. We'll side dock it on the same angle and everything, and then we'll strap 2 more colony modules, and hopefully the FPS drop won't be major at that point because these are pretty robust. We'll dock basically our bus to transfer crew onto these modules. They'll then they should have sufficient fuel. This one's going to be a little bit different. This one should have sufficient fuel to get to the Moon and land, because it's going to have so many little fuel tanks, and we'll have the big one. I don't think we'll run into issues with having it run out of fuel, and once it's on the Moon, I don't really care about fuel, because this isn't coming back or anything. So, is this lights? Yeah, this has got lights. So that's going to be module number 1. Back to the Space Center. And I will show you, this isn't ready, the second entry module, which will go to the Moon. This one I tested a little bit. It's going to need more fuel, so that's why we're topping off. We're going to make this actually, let's the drive module, comm tower. There we go. So this is our communications tower to bounce signals back and forth to the Muter colony and Kerbin. It's probably the tallest rocket I've ever managed to build and not go over the limit. So you see we got just our communication pieces here and there. The top here, what's probably going to happen, unfortunately, is I'm going to have to put one of those junior ports here and dock it with our fueling station to top. I'm going to completely max this tank out and any other tanks which may need it. This one is for landing, but we need as much fuel as we can because I just was scraping the bottom of the barrel when I made my first attempt. So we'll take this off, put on a Clampetron Junior. We may reorganize this a little bit to make it a little more physically appealing afterwards. Anyway, so that's why we need that fuel depot. So I'm going to go ahead and load our tanker now. And as you can see, I found this design here to this basic 3 engine, 2 engine, whatever, strapped onto 2 tanks each, to be the to be the best model for getting these large fuel tanks into orbit without expending most of their fuel. So this design here actually will keep minimum generally almost 3/4 of the fuel left by the time we dock, that we can dump into the depot. And this one also is manned. And the original thought was I'd transfer crew between the depots to give the guys a break, get them home and all that. So this one actually returns, got a parachute on the back end, docking port on the front. This one's already tested, works beautifully. Unfortunately, the way the game is right now, and maybe you guys know better, you can correct me, I can't just transfer crew. They have to get outside. And the problem I was experiencing on my first run, I may experiment a little bit more with it, because I remember you used to be able to do this, was I'd get on my EVA on one guy, connect them to the ladder, and I'd go try to change over to my other craft, and get the guy outside, and manually move them back and forth and in. But, well, one guy was outside, they weren't letting me take any others out, and that didn't seem right. I don't know if it is a new thing with the docking, since there is multiple modules rather than just one big one. So that's something we're going to have to experiment with. And anyways, this is designed to return, parachute down, and get the guys home. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there, and I'll bring us back in when we're ready to launch and dock with the station. This has been a good introductory, I think, to the series, and we'll join you later. Thank you.